So now we're going to open it up, and again, you've seen a number of people, vets, talk about their experiences. So if you want, why don't you come up here probably and use the mic so that people can speak, and let's just do that, okay?
Just give a couple of things. Suzanne has a book for sale in the back, which she'll be happy to stay and autograph for you. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is, one of the sponsors of this is the New York City chapter of Veterans for Peace up there. We don't happen to have, unless Bob Kalbach has them, applications, or we do, if anyone would be interested in joining our organization. I've been a member since 2003, and it keeps me sane sometimes to know that I can speak out against war to other veterans who share the experience. I'm a Vietnam era veteran. I didn't serve in Vietnam. I served in Korea. But I shared a lot of experiences that we all did when we were in the military. And the other thing I wanted to say is a couple of the names that I see that bother me that are connected to the privatization are the Cohen Veteran Network. It's a hedge fund manager who's had established mental health clinics around the country, supposedly for free at first. And the other name that I'm looking at is TRICARE, or is it TriWest? TriWest, who has gotten a big contract, right, with the VA to vet the other people that want to put their tentacles into the system. So these are people that we need to watch, not just the Koch brothers. So thank you all for being here tonight. Hope you think about joining our organization. And next, Renee.
My name is Renee Imperato. I am a transgender Vietnam veteran. You don't have to forgive me, John. It's okay. I want to say this. I worked in adjudication, 13th floor, 252 7th Avenue. I worked in the file room at the Manhattan VA. And let me say this. When I was serving a veteran, I didn't always look at 12:05 and say, oh, it's time for lunch. There are scores of us who would take our own time to help our veterans. My father had a heart attack in 2000. Dr. Chang, cardiologist at the time at the Manhattan VA, slept on a cot overnight the first night my father was in the VA. I'd like to say that March 22nd, 2017, that was the VA Accountability Act. That's when it started. But if I could just tell people this, Concerned Veterans of America, or I should call them high-ranking officers of America, because there's not many grunts in Concerned Veterans of America. Duncan Hunter, who was a high-ranking officer in Iraq in 2003, if any of you remember the radio show with John McDonough and Al Lewis, you know what he wanted to do? He wanted to make service connection only any injury sustained while in direct combat. That was in 2003, where they wanted to really close scores of VA hospitals, including Manhattan. So there's another enemy to set your sights on. And don't be here, you know, like, oh, they're a veteran. They ain't veterans like veterans in this room. Also, let me just say this. Yeah, Robert Mercer. You know what a lot of these people want to do? I really don't want to talk like this, but the truth is the truth. They want us dead. What? We can't fight no more wars for them. Hey, what? We got to give them money for drugs? We got to keep them alive by letting them have money to buy food? This is you know what this is? These people complaining about the VA, they're like pyromaniacs complaining about arson. How many people get the surveys now that we never got? Right? How is your care? Well, they disrupt the care so somebody can answer the survey so that then they could say, hey, look, we're getting complaints about the VA. You know, like, people are waiting. Don't worry about that. People are waiting treatment at the Manhattan VA, where I am 3 days a week, okay? They say there's people who have actually, they're awaiting treatment and they've died. You know what? There is not a hospital on the face of the earth that doesn't have someone waiting for some kind of treatment that dies. This happens in any country, in any system. So this is, who pointed out before about how they're very sophisticated about how they, they use their language. So, listen, I can go on and on. I don't think it's fair, but I do. Huh? Yeah, okay. But I do want to say that I am in Manhattan usually, 3 days this week. And I just want to say that all the VA workers who work there, hey, I grew up and grew old with them. I think that's what we want to talk about, is how the system is integrated. And I can tell you this right now. I go to the PTSD unit on the second floor at the Manhattan VA. I'm telling you this. They privatized the VA. I can tell you veterans by name now who will die. That's right. They'll be scattered all over the place. And what this really is the institutional attempted murder of our American veterans. And these criminals are the ones who should be brought to justice. And that's how we'll save the VA. Thank you, Skip.
Thank you very much. You guys, the only thing I would say, let's just try to be sharp and succinct, because you can see a lot of us want to say something, and we'll make sure everybody gets an opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Skip.
Hello.
I'd like to thank everyone for their service, wherever it was, whatever branch of service it was. And I want to thank this great panel here for sharing this information and giving inspiration. I would not be here if it wasn't for the VA. I would be in Vietnam. I live in Vietnam 6 months every year for the last 5 years. In fact, I met Liz there, Joe, and Skip last March on the Veterans for Peace tour. Now, why would I be here and not in Vietnam? I love Vietnam. I love the Vietnamese people. I was diagnosed with Agent Orange cancer 7 years ago. I'm being treated by the VA. This month alone, I got calls from 2 doctors this week. My dentist, they're going to fix a tooth in the back. I got a dermatologist, who got to remove a cancer under my sideburn. I'm going to have a glaucoma test in January, all with the VA. That's why I'm here, because I had to come back home to New York to get my medical treatment. People say, why didn't you just live in Vietnam? I says, I can't do that. I have to come to the VA. And I want to. I'm happy to. My mom, I understand what she said many years ago. She goes, why did they call these the golden years? She used to say this when she was in her 70s and 80s. She says, why do they call this the golden years? They feel very rusty. I'm starting to now understand what she means. But I'm very grateful for the Veterans Administration and the care that I do get. I was telling Skip today, I have appointments coming up next week. I got a letter in the mail, I got a phone call, I got a text message, and I got a postcard. Right? 2 of those calls were from the doctors themselves telling me that I had my appointment and what it was going to be about. I don't think that would ever happen out in the private sector, ever. I just want to mention a little bit of what I do in Vietnam. It's because of the care I get with the VA that inspired me to go and help the children in Vietnam who are suffering from the exposure from Agent Orange. They weren't. They had their parents and grandparents were. So it's carcinogenic. As Joe said, it passes on to generation to generation. For me, it's an enchanting engagement. It gives me joy, they get joy, and it's a two-way street. It's beautiful. I'm going back January 28th. As soon as I get all my veterans, hospital, medical things taken care of. So I just wanted to share that. I don't want to take up too much time. We've got some gentlemen standing online. Thank you very much. Work together, stick together. It's awareness, spreading the word, not keeping it within ourselves, and somehow trying to work together so we could save the VA.
So we want to get everybody an opportunity to speak, so really have to be brief.
Hello, my name is Derek. I'm a veteran. I listened to the panel, what they talked about, and you're 100% right. I used to work, I'm a substance abuse counselor who worked for an agency supposedly to take care of us. They didn't do that. All in their mind was getting your pension, SSD, SSI, your 100% percentage, whatever money you got on you. I worked for this agency for a whole year. My supervisor was from Iraq, 82nd, and he told me before he quit, be careful and take care of our brothers. You will see everything. And I saw everything. What you guys said, I saw everything. I saw this agency cook charts. Cooking charts is illegal. It's federal law. You don't cook patient charts. You can't, because you go to jail. But this agency did it. My time there for a whole year, I helped out as much veterans as I can to get out of that place. So out of 27 clients, I helped out 8. It felt good to help my brothers, but I felt I didn't do enough job because that place was taking a full advantage of us. And it's not just this agency. You got a lot of agencies connected that will do the same thing. I could call them out for you. And you'd be surprised who's taking advantage of us. Either we're homeless, maybe we have illnesses we got to take care of, and these agencies will have their own doctors, their own psychiatrists. And whatever they say is gold. No matter what you say, their voice is gold. So you're screwed. So I'll tell my brothers and sisters, please, before you go into any of these agencies, do the research, because they will hurt you in wallet, mentally, spiritually, and physically. They will hurt you, and I've seen it. And again, I'm sorry that I wish I could have done more. And I think all veterans need to take care of veterans. That's a definite must. We have to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you've done for us.
Hi, my name's Glenn Peterson. Skip, I haven't seen you in 30 years.
Many years.
I was one of the few enlisted men who flew off of aircraft carriers. I wasn't a pilot. I sat behind the pilot. I was very young. Long missions, very close to huge aircraft engines. I lost my hearing very early on, and the VA was a place that I didn't want to go to, but I couldn't survive without hearing aids. And much to my surprise, I found out that there was a lot more there than hearing aids. But I'm a teacher, and if I can't hear my students, I can't work. I thought that I was going to have to lose my job, but the VA has been so incredibly helpful, so consistent, so concerned, so willing to try each new invention that comes along, that I'm still teaching because of the quality of the care, the attention that I get. And as far as I'm concerned, that saves my life. I don't know what I would do without it. There's something, I've got journalists here who work with the VA. I want to talk about an issue that hasn't been raised. We've talked about Agent Orange and PTSD, both of which are conditions which were not understood until veterans fought to have them put on the table. I think there's another condition that could be dealt with, and I have spent countless hours trying to find somebody who will pay attention. Maybe somebody in here can figure out a way to do this. Most of you in here know about repetitive brain injuries from football players, from other sports. It's been well demonstrated, right? And they do all kinds of tests. They find this over and over again. I was flying off of aircraft carriers. That meant during training multiple times a day, during combat at least once a day, sometimes more, in the incredible G-forces of a catapult launch, in the incredible G-forces of an arrested landing. I was a child. I was 18 years old when I started this. I was 19 when I was in Vietnam. Over and over again, I went through this. I've got 70% service-connected for PTSD, and I sincerely believe that the significant part of that could be brain injury from this. I cannot get anybody anywhere at the VA, any kind of flight surgeon, to look at this. The one person in the military that I was able to pay attention to said, we can't possibly look at that. How can we keep launching planes off of aircraft carriers if we found out that it was detrimental to the health of the pilots, right? So if there's anybody here who has any way of figuring out how we can do the same thing with PTSD and Agent Orange with this repetitive brain injury, I'd really like to work with them. Thank you.
Broad swatches of thoughts. One, no movement was ever successful by asking the people who were trying to kill them for help. All right? So, right, what do we have to illustrate that? The civil rights movement. All right? That's one, okay? What's another one? The Vietnam War movement. Did we put 500,000 people in the street, or did we write 500,000 letters? All right? That's another one. The one I was very involved in was Vietnam, of course, but also ACT UP. At the beginning of the AIDS plague, they were ignoring a lot of illnesses, particularly illnesses in people of color and women. They just wouldn't recognize it. So ACT UP decided to put a demo out. All right? I went over to one of the organizers and I said, well, do we have a permit for this demo? And he said, yeah, we have a permit. We're putting 500,000 people in the street tomorrow. So he's a little off. We only put 250,000 people in the street. Of course, they couldn't arrest us all. And little by little, we won the day. If we write to and call only, if we only do that, we have to remember that in the most recent Gallup poll, do you know what positive number our Congress got? Right? Now, we know Trump's in the 30%. We think that's pretty terrible, which it is. Congress got 11% approval rating. 11%. That means 89% of the people in the United States do not approve of the Congress. So why on earth are we restricting ourselves to writing to them? Now, my parents were involved in the labor movement. Big struggles for years in the 20s and 30s. They were also involved in putting together a group called the Abraham Lincoln Brigade that fought in Spain. All right? At no time did they start asking permission. The last one I want to mention, because I want to cut it off now, even though there's a million things to say, is, remember the bonus marchers? Anybody know about that history? They didn't win the first time they occupied Washington. They didn't win the second time. They didn't win the third time, but they won the fourth time. Right? They did not ask permission. And until we stop asking permission and get out there, not as the people who are now disposable, which we are, we're no good anymore. We cost money. We have gray hair. We have black skin. We're no good. Get rid of them. Let them die. Until we stop asking permission, we're going to get nowhere. And remember, it's not just the VA. It's Social Security. It's single payer. And what's amazing is that if you go down to the Lower East Side, you see the most successful housing project ever built, called the Jacob Riis houses. They're so successful that even if you're in the neighborhood and have relatives in there, which I did, they wanted to put me on the waiting list, which was only 30 years long. So you know what the government's solution was to this very successful program? Don't do it again. They didn't build anymore. That's what they're after. The reason they're after the VA is that it works. Thank you.
My name's Dennis O'Neill. I'm a member of Veterans for Peace, but I'm here in another capacity. I am a retired postal worker. I am a member of the American Postal Workers Union, and I know a lot of vets, Skip among them. After they got out of the service, went into the post office. I think we're the largest non-veteran military employer of veterans in the country. And the Postal Service is facing exactly the same threat that the VA is, and for the same reason. It is a successful government program, and there are a bunch of greedheads out there who think that they can make a buck by dismantling and privatizing it. My union, the American Postal Workers Union, the National Association of Letter Carriers, the two biggest postal unions, have a campaign, as you can see on my shirt. It says, U.S. mail not for sale. All right? And you've heard from the unions here, the National Nurses Union, the American Federation of Government Employees. I think, I'm not in any official capacity, but I think we very much need a united front of our unions and of veterans, active duty postal workers, retired postal workers, and so on, to make a core of an anti-privatization movement to stop this shit in its tracks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Perez. Some of you know me. My two favorite people are in the room, Kerry Taft and Johnny Williams. I met them a while ago. I was privileged this past summer to be the Grand Marshal to the Bronx Parade task team. Their parade this past summer, and it was awesome. We dedicated to Emmanuel Menza, who's another veteran, who selflessly sacrificed his life, ran into a burning building 3 times, saved 13 people's lives before succumbing to smoke and flames. And that's a hero in my book, and I'll always talk about him. Anyway. I was a first one, so I could use my voice if you want, but it's okay. Is this better? Yeah. Okay. I'm not used to holding something close to my mouth, this close, but it's okay. Also, this past year, I ran for the 87th Assembly District in the Bronx. I ran for state assembly, and I got really, really close. And my platform was veterans issues. Although I got some veterans to come out and support, I could not get the number that I needed to address the veterans issues. Johnny Williams knows, Kerry Taft knows that I've been beating on the drums because of this very same thing. This very same reason why you're here today is what I've been beating down constantly. A lot of legislators don't know what it is to be in the battlefield. They don't know what it is to hold a rifle. They don't know what it is to look at their six or look at their buddy six and take care of them. They don't know what it is, but yet they have the power to legislate over what is best for us. You can't tell somebody what they're entitled to if you've never been through that storm. You can't tell them. So that's why we need more legislators up there that really do understand the veterans' need and the veterans' crisis to protect them. So I'm not down and out yet. My final purpose to talk about the VA. This past November, the 13th of November, while I was going to school, I was assaulted. I was a victim of a gang assault on Fordham and Davidson Avenue. That's why I'm with the cane now. I actually dropped the crutches today. The doctor said, you're okay. I broke my fibula defending 4 assailants, 4 individuals attacking me. And I was able to defend it. I don't have a scratch on my face. I don't have a scratch on my body. I slipped on boxes and I broke my fibula landing. I had blood all over me and it wasn't mine. 4 individuals. Thank you. Not because I'm a BA, but I got on an ambulance. 3 ambulances came over. One wanted to take me to Montefiore. The other wanted to take me to St. Barnabas. The other one wanted to take me to Jacobi Hospital. And the one girl who her brother is in the service today, I told her, do me a favor and take me to the VA. And she took me to the VA. I was in and out of the VA in 2.5 hours. X-ray, and had an appointment for the following 2 days to see a specialist to make sure that nothing was wrong with my foot. When I arrived there 2 days later, I was sent for additional X-ray and an MRI. I sat there for an hour until he made a full assessment. He says, you're fine. Start walking on it. And this is what I'm doing today. Save our VA. Thank you.
How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dao Henriquez. I served the Navy. 7 years, 2 months, and 24 days. What I did there was, people could say the regular stuff, but underwhelming as it is, I could say for a fact, all my job always got done. Never took credit for it, always take the accounts for it. That's the motto. Basically, I spent, 6 months in the brig for something that people want to interpret different. So basically, come down at 6 months in the brig, then there's a job. Then I had an accident, probably didn't recover for about 20 years. So to put it in shortly, I just want to ask all you people, just to say the least, whoever took PCP before, when they were young? No one? No one ever took PCP? No one ever took PCP? No one, right? No. It gets to a point. So no one ever took PCP before, but I'm pretty sure all you are now taking PCP now. Why is that? Primary care physician. This is a word game that the military tends to use, right? The word entitlement, for us military guys, we are qualified to get our claims. But this entitlement is used so often that it dilutes the system that they give our kids this word. You're entitled. You sound entitled. Our kids are getting the backlash what us military men had to fight for. The government earned us the right to entitlement. So we title our claim for our families. Now they calling our kids entitlement. You're not entitled. You sound entitled. The other situation was patient. I always joke around that around the hospital. Basically saying, hey, you're either one, inpatient or outpatient. Sometimes it's the way the word is used, you gotta have patience. Therefore, the military motto, hurry up and wait. So the whole idea, we got to sense to the fact that, are we changing? Because I would never change for what I fight for. But the problem is, if the government keeps telling us, what are we not? Then what's the sense of the change word? Because I could adapt, I could adjust, I could modify. But I would never change who I was. Or would I be? That's the whole idea. Don't let the government put words in your mouth, otherwise you sing the same tune. So to strategize, I got to re-educate myself to the fact is, that's how I forgot who I was. So therefore, if we forget who we were, what will we become in the future for our family? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
First of all, let me give everybody a salute, and God bless America. You're hearing all the great things. I'm trying to make it real quick.
What's your name?
Oh, that's right, I forgot my name. See, I have PTSD. My name is Johnny with the IE, Johnny H. Williams Jr. When you Google it, you'll see what I'm going to tell you. I'm very honest. I want everybody to know what all of us have went through, and the only way I can tell you in the 2 minutes I have is to tell you the craziest things that you would not believe a person would tell you. I've been married 3 times. Now, we got guys that have been married 5 times. But it's not because they're bad veterans. Who do you think's going to sleep with the same person every night that's screaming every night in the bed? The first wife did it for a couple of years. The second wife did it for a couple of years. When I met the third wife, forget about it. She told me, I'm the boss. This is what the VA does. The VA is perfect for everything that we need. And I'm telling you, if anybody's telling you different, don't believe it. Let's start about my history. 4 strokes, 3 heart attacks, and I'm in front of this microphone and I can kick anybody's butt that I want to. For the simple fact that I work for my Father in heaven, He tell me, you was a bad boy in Vietnam, now become a good boy and take care of all these veterans. I have 5 Facebook pages. I have 25.5 million veterans that bother me day in, day out. You know what? I love it. Because a lot of us veterans have so many bad things on our mind. I don't care if you was a rat. I already proved that you could be in Fort Dix. I already proved that you can get your benefits when you ask me. You're going to get your benefits. You know why? For one reason. You served your country. I have book number 1, Help Us on the Way. Book number 2, Help Us on the Way too. Book number 3, The Mustard Seed. Why in the heck would somebody come out with a book that's called, what's the name of that book? I almost forgot myself. Behave Yourself. And the last book I just finished is called Suicide, Stop It Now. And believe me, I wrote that book because I know about it. All the veterans in this audience, you are all brave, you're all perfect. Don't ever let anybody let you down. You know what we do now in the Bronx? We have the Veterans Information Fair that everybody, hello Dad, back in the back, hi Dad. We have the Veterans Information Fair where any veteran for the 50 states can come to the event that we have. There's 60 tables each time for every veteran. Whether you need a house, whether you need a haircut, whether you need another, no, not another wife, no more of that. But what I'm trying to tell you, everything that we do, when you contact the crazy name Johnny H. Williams Jr., it's because you served your country. Now, you know what Uncle Sam didn't tell you? My wife was a teacher. She had a breakdown. You know what they did to my wife? They put her in 6B, which is lockdown. And I told all the other veterans, because your spouses and your children are allowed to get everything that you are. God bless America.
Thank you, Johnny. You can go online, you can get Johnny's information online, his website.
Okay, I'm just going to say real quick, I got PTSD. I go to the PTSD clinic at the 23rd Veterans Hospital, and I was not able to deal with my life at all before I went there. And I'm getting help for the first time in my life. I lost 5 jobs in a row. I had 3 marriages. I've blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I just want to let you know a little bit there. Here's what I think is extremely important.
Can you hold the mic?
Is how vicious, sadistic, and purposeful the actions are of these fascists who run this country. And we have to understand what we're really up against. They don't give a damn, I was going to use another word, but about all of our brothers and sisters here. All of our brothers and sisters. And I'll tell you what. Our brothers and sisters are different nationalities. We are black, we are Latino, we are gay, we're straight, we're trans, we're men, we're women. They trying to divide us now. Look what they're doing. What Trump and them are trying to do. Oh, I'm a nationalist, I'm this, I'm that. Okay, we cannot allow that. The other thing is, these Democrats did not say one single thing about Trump's vicious attacks on immigrants. I worked in the fields when I was a kid. I worked with Mexican immigrants, okay? I know what's going on with that. They're trying to target and get people motivated by racism. This will defeat us. We cannot allow that. And the other thing is that I really agree with what the other brother was saying. I was telling somebody today, they're trying to tell us because we're old, they're going to roll right over us, right? Because we're old? No. They are not going to roll all over us because we're older. We got to work and seek out these younger vets. We got to work with them. And I'll tell you what, some of us old guys, we got to get on the streets. Because I'll tell you what, the Democrats, they get letters all the time. They never do anything without visible on the streets. Imagine veterans challenging this system, being on these streets saying, yeah, I was in Vietnam. I got PTSD. I got all this. And my language, I'm trying to clean up my language.
I'm so sorry, but we have 5 minutes more. Hi, everybody. My name is Susan Schnall, and I'm with Veterans for Peace, and actually, believe it or not, a woman is president of the local chapter of Veterans for Peace. And I'm also a U.S. Navy veteran, 67 to 69. So what I would like to do, because I know how important it is for everybody to speak, but we also have a person here, Joe Bello, who I think most of you know, and he's got something important to say. And then let's see what our time is. But we're going to need you all to help us clear out.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? First of all, let me apologize for being late. I'm a member of the New York City Veterans Advisory Board. And as a member of that board, I've been appointed by the Speaker of the City Council, so we had our meeting tonight as well. So first of all, let me apologize. Secondly, I happen to be the co-chair right now for the VA Veterans Experience Community Veterans Engagement Board. Now, that board has on it all the hospital directors, the regional director, and even the cemetery director. So to me, events like this are very important because we see what's happening in Washington, we see what's going on in terms of the funding, we see the Mar-a-Lago group, we see all this stuff happening, and we want answers. And when I ask the hospital directors, like, oh, what do you know what's going on? They give me the same answer, like, oh, we don't know anything. So really, we know that it's coming from Washington, and we know that, like, you know, these events are informative, and they tell us what's going on, and we need to, you know, like I said, to me, this was actually more important tonight than the Veterans Advisory Board meeting. So, you know, I just want to tell you that, you know, what I've heard, which wasn't much, but what I've heard, and conversations I've had with other people, even a few people on the panel, I certainly will take back to the leadership to say, hey, you know, this is real, we are concerned, we want to know what's happening, we want answers, we definitively want answers, and we want to make sure that the proper funding is going into the VA, into Visit 2 here, so that you're getting the proper hospital and staff that need to be in these hospitals, not that you're shifting it to Albany or you're shifting it to Jersey. I mean, that's fine, but there has to be funding for all. And so that's very important. So once again, thank you all for being here tonight, and it's good to see you all, and have a good night. Good to see you.
Okay, thanks so much. Let me do this, folks. We have a certain responsibility, and we rented this space, and the church was gracious enough to give it to us, and we're supposed to be out of here at 9:30. So I don't want to, jeopardize our future here. And we've got two more people over here, and we're going to let them speak, and then we'll kind of wrap up. If some of these folks want to say a final word, and I wish we had more time. And what I would really say, it just underscores the need for us to do more of these kind of meetings. So we can talk to each other, we can figure out a way how to save the VA. So again, two brothers over here, and then we'll try to wrap it up. Again, literature is in the back of the room. You should grab a handful, take it home. We will be in touch. We will do this again. Sometime in the new year, be in touch with you about that. Let our two brothers speak, and then we'll try to wrap it up with a summation at the end.
I feel great. I'm going to tell you why I feel great. I feel great because we finally got the fox out of the hen house on the vets. Anybody get my drift? I said we are beginning to pick up and understand that we got hens in the hen house and we're leaving the fox in there. So I want to say, I want to thank the young man over here who put this together. I've been trying to get someone to go in the hen house and run that fox out of there because they pimping the vet. I've been pimped. I'm sitting here talking, but I'm going to tell you, I'm a young man. I was born in 1931 in Memphis, Tennessee, and I served in the Marine Corps in 1974 and also served in Korea. And I'm going to tell you something. This is our country, fellas. And we're supposed to stick together and do anything we can to keep things going. That's for the male and the female service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. One more speaker here, and we'll try to wrap us up, folks.
I'm going to try and make this quick. My name is Percy Lee Anderson, U.S. Navy veteran, and an author from the Bronx VA also. And here's one of my books. It's People Learning Everyday Etiquette. The values, the manners, the courtesy, and respect that we were raised on. Now, this is something that's been lost in today's society. with the greed, the selfishness, what's going on right now with our children, with our government. The man in the top office saying fire the sons. This little boy can do the same thing because he can grow up to be president, but he shows that same disrespect. You turn around, we've got to turn around and then say, we're the children of this country. We went out and we did our chore. We're coming back, we expect our allowance. Then we become the elders. So we look out for our youth, look out. The country's supposed to look out for us. But what do they turn around and do? Now what they're trying to do is have us pay for them to take care of us. That's not the right way to do this. So we're going to have to continue this fight and get this thing going. We shouldn't have to pay for care that we've already sacrificed so much and lost so many, and turn around and we've done what we needed to do. Now they have to do their part. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Hey, thank everybody for coming out. I'm just going to let Susan say a final word again. We have a meeting on December 11th, right here, actually 2 doors down, and we'll have the Save Our VA task force trying to figure out what to do next. One thing we certainly will do is have another town hall next year when we get together and try to get some congressmen here to also listen to what we're saying so they can take it back down to Washington and make sure they don't privatize the VA. So Suzanne.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming and listening to this and all this great testimony of all these veterans. I want to ask you to take a pledge. Who will take a pledge with me? Who will take a pledge? 3 phone calls. 2 congressmen and 2 senators and 1 congressman. Call them. You can also call the House Veterans Affairs Committee and the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee and ask them to hold hearings. They need to hear from you, right? Because you're not the kind of people that are traveling to Washington, right? Right? They need to hear from you. So raise your hands, right? We're going to leave here 5 minutes. And remember also, House Veterans Affairs Committee, Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, you can ask them to hold hearings on mission, right? On the money that's going to Tri-West for fraud and abuse, on the Koch brothers, on Mar-a-Lago, etc. Thank you, Veterans for Peace. Thank you, AFGE. Thank you, AMU. Thank you all for your service.